skip this video and you might fall into the biggest illusion in America, Las Vegas. On the surface, it's still marketed as paradise, endless nightlife, no state income tax, and sunshine all year. But behind the neon glow lies a brutal reality. Families are crushed by $55 resort fees, $700 summer power bills, schools ranked near the bottom nationwide, and crime seeping into once safe neighborhoods. The Strip sparkles for tourists, but locals know the truth. Empty homes, shuttered shops, and neighbors vanishing overnight. What once felt like freedom has turned into suffocating debt and regret. And here's the shocking twist. People aren't moving here anymore. They're racing to leave. Stay with me, because the 9 hidden truths I'm about to expose will completely shatter the way you see Las Vegas in 2025. Number 9. Heat and climate reality check. Step into a Vegas summer, and you'll understand why so many newcomers regret moving here. March feels perfect. 75-degree skies, crisp desert air. But by July, the city transforms into a furnace at 115 degrees. Sidewalks scorch shoes, steering wheels burn like iron, and even walking your dog at noon risks heat stroke. Parents quickly realize playgrounds are deserted, errands must be timed at dawn or night, and outdoor life becomes a shrinking privilege. This isn't just inconvenient, it's deadly. Heat-related emergencies now rival Phoenix, and survival means non-stop air conditioning. That luxury comes with a punishing price tag. $400 monthly power bills for small homes, $600, $700 for larger ones. In a single summer, that's an extra $2,000, $3,000 burned away just to stay cool. Add a $3,000 mortgage or $2,000 rent, and the famous no state income tax savings vanish. The crisis doesn't stop with heat. Las Vegas sits at the edge of the West's megadrought, with Lake Mead sinking to its lowest level since the 1930s. The giant bathtub ring isn't just a photo op, it's a warning sign. Yes, officials boast that Vegas uses less water today than 20 years ago despite 500,000 more residents. But families see lawns ripped out, fountains shut off, pools restricted, while California golf courses still gleam emerald green. That contrast fuels unease. If water is already scarce, what will the valley look like in 20 years? Will home values collapse? Will summers cross from brutal to unlivable? For many, the answer is too risky to wait for. Vegas once sold sunshine as freedom. In 2025, truth number 9 is harsher. Here, summer feels less like a season and more like survival. And for thousands, it's the first reason to leave. Zasatiri 8. Schools as the breaking point. If the desert heat doesn't drive families out, the schools often do. Ask parents why they left Las Vegas, and most sigh before answering the classrooms. On paper, Clark County School District looks impressive. It's the 5th largest in America, serving over 300,000 students. But scale has a dark side. Overcrowded classrooms, underfunded programs, and teachers stretched so thin that individual attention is a luxury. In a national ranking of the 50 largest metro areas, Las Vegas placed second to last in school quality, a statistic that hits like a gut punch for families who moved here expecting stability. Since the pandemic, reports of fights, behavioral breakdowns, and even violence have surged, leaving parents worried not just about academics, but their children's daily safety. The alternatives aren't much better. Private schools exist, but tuition often runs $15,000 to $25,000 per child, meaning a 2-child household could easily spend $50,000 a year on education, on top of rent or a hefty mortgage. For middle-class families, the math is impossible. The divide is stark. In affluent neighborhoods like Summerlin or Henderson, schools are excellent, but most newcomers can't buy into those zip codes. The majority are left navigating a system widely regarded as one of the most poorly funded in the nation. And here's the irony. Many families tolerate $700 power bills, soaring housing costs, even the relentless sun. But when it comes to their kids' futures, they refuse to gamble. That's the deal breaker. Parents pack up, often within a year, and head back to states with stronger school systems and safer environments. Las Vegas may glitter for adults chasing nightlife, but for families raising children, truth number 8 is unavoidable. The education system isn't just failing, it's driving people away. Set 7, the hidden costs no one warns you about. Families who move to Las Vegas often budget for rent, mortgages, or sky-high summer power bills. What blindsides them are the invisible costs that stack up month after month until their budgets collapse. Start with cars. Desert heat devours vehicles. Tires expected to last 60,000 miles barely survive 3 summers. Dashboards crack, paint fades, and air conditioners strain under relentless sun. Locals quietly budget an extra $1,000 to $2,500 a year just for car upkeep, because breakdowns on I-15 at 1 to 18 degree Mierob aren't optional. Then there's lifestyle creep. Vegas isn't just a city, it's the entertainment capital of the world. Newcomers promise themselves restraint, but just one splurge quickly turns into $500, $800 a month on shows, restaurants, and bars that never close. Add in gambling, which lurks everywhere from grocery store slots to glittering strip casinos, and the temptation becomes constant. Even if families avoid the tables, the city's transient nature creates a different price: loneliness. Neighbors move in and out, friendships feel temporary, and community ties rarely take root. For families used to strong networks, that instability is its own cost, paid not in dollars, but in emotional strain. By the time they realize the bleed, car repairs, entertainment, creeping expenses, and fractured community, the damage is done. What once felt affordable now drains savings faster than they imagined. And this is why many who thought they could handle Vegas quietly admit defeat. Truth number 7 is clear. It's not the obvious bills that ruin people. It's the hidden ones, the 1,000 small cuts that make daily life unsustainable. Number 6, the housing shockwave. Imagine moving to Las Vegas with dreams of buying a home, only to realize the market has turned into a trap. In 2012, the median 3-bedroom sold for about $118,000. Today, nearly $485,000, a 300% spike in just over a decade. With mortgage rates hovering near 7%, that price translates to a monthly payment of roughly $2,870 before taxes and insurance. Add HOA fees, property taxes, and insurance premiums, and most families are staring at $3,200 a month just to keep a roof overhead. To afford that, you'd need an annual household income above $115,000. The problem, the median in Las Vegas sits closer to $72,000. That gap leaves 2 out of 3 households effectively priced out of their own city. Renters don't escape either. A 2-bedroom apartment that cost $1,200 a few years ago now runs $2,000 or more. Over half of Nevada renters are officially cost-burdened, spending more than a third of their income on rent. Competition only makes it worse. Out-of-state investors, especially Californians, swoop in with cash offers tens of thousands above asking. Local buyers can't keep up. Meanwhile, state estimates say Vegas needs 7,000 new apartments each year just to match demand. But construction lags far behind. For newcomers, the math feels rigged. The city that once lured families with affordable homes is now shutting them out. And for longtime locals, the betrayal cuts deeper. Watching the same house that once cost 6 figures now selling for $500,000. Truth number 6 is devastating. The housing boom is an opportunity. It's a lockout, pushing families not into the Vegas dream, but out of it. Number 5, crime and safety concerns. The Strip glitters for tourists, but residents know the shadows tell a different story. Statistically, Las Vegas sits in the 35th percentile for safety, meaning 65% of U.S. cities are safer. Property crime is rampant. Shattered car windows, stolen packages, and burglarized homes have become everyday complaints. Violent crime, once confined to certain districts, now spills into areas newcomers thought were safe. Parents feel the pressure most. Since students return from virtual learning, reports of fights and violent incidents inside schools have surged, leaving families torn between mortgages and their children's safety. Many who arrive from smaller towns expect suburban calm, but instead face big city crime patterns they weren't prepared for. Even in nicer neighborhoods, residents are told to invest in alarm systems, reinforced doors, and surveillance cameras, an extra cost and an extra layer of stress. Metro Police do what they can, and neighborhood watch groups help, but the sheer scale of the city makes total safety impossible. The psychological toll is just as heavy as the financial one. Families who once loved evening walks or letting kids bike outside now think twice, reshaping daily routines around caution. Safety isn't only about numbers, it's about peace of mind. And when that peace disappears, so does the will to stay. For many, no tax savings or entertainment can outweigh the constant fear of what if. Truth number 5 cuts deep. Las Vegas isn't just expensive, it feels unsafe. And when families stop feeling secure in their own homes, the neon lights lose all their power to convince them to stay. Number 4, water scarcity and resource limits. Las Vegas has always been an oasis built on defiance. Neon towers rising from one of the driest deserts in North America, but that gamble is catching up. Lake Mead, the city's lifeline, has dropped to its lowest level since the 1930s, exposing massive white bathtub rings that scream decline. Officials highlight an impressive fact. Vegas actually uses less water today than it did 20 years ago, even with nearly 500,000 more residents. But for families, the optics tell a darker story. Grass lawns are ripped out, fountains drained, neighborhood pools restricted. Meanwhile, images of emerald green golf courses in neighboring states flood social media, fueling resentment. Water isn't just an environmental issue, it's psychological and financial. Homeowners quietly ask, will my house hold its value if water shortages worsen? Parents wonder, what kind of future are we handing our kids if the taps run dry? Add in climate change, and the uncertainty multiplies. Hotter summers mean faster evaporation, shrinking reservoirs, and more strain on the Colorado River, which already struggles to support 40 million people across the West. Even businesses are spooked. Investors question whether a city so dependent on water can sustain long-term growth. For newcomers, the thought of staking their savings in a desert city where the river is dying feels less like opportunity and more like risk. And for longtime locals, the anxiety cuts deeper. They've seen the lake recede, the lawns vanish, and the city tighten restrictions year after year. Truth number 4 is blunt. Water is life. And in Las Vegas, life feels increasingly fragile. When survival depends on a river that may not deliver, many families decide not to gamble and pack up before the odds turn worse. Some other 3, job market instability and economic dependence. Las Vegas sells itself as a land of opportunity, no state income tax, plenty of service jobs, and a booming entertainment scene. But the reality is a roller coaster. The city's economy leans heavily on tourism, hospitality, and gaming. When times are good, jobs are everywhere. When times turn bad, they vanish overnight. The pandemic proved it brutally. In 2020, Las Vegas hit nearly 34% unemployment, one of the highest spikes in the nation. Though raw numbers have rebounded, scars remain. Workers in hotels, casinos, and restaurants know how fragile their livelihoods are, living with the constant fear that the next downturn or global shock could erase their income in days. Diversification has been slow. Yes, companies like Amazon, Tesla, and even SpaceX have footprints here, and logistics is growing. But these industries can't match the scale of the casino-driven workforce. For every well-paying tech job, there are dozens of low-wage service roles that don't cover soaring housing costs. Remember, to afford a median-priced home, households need $115,000 a year. The median household income, about $72,000. That mismatch traps thousands in paycheck-to-paycheck survival. Benefits are another weak point. Hospitality jobs often rely on tips, with limited health insurance, retirement plans, or long-term security. Families planning their futures quickly realize they're building on sand. For the newcomers, the risk feels like a gamble they didn't sign up for, and for longtime locals, the instability erodes trust in the city's promise. Truth number 3 is sobering. Vegas doesn't just gamble with tourists' money, it gambles with residents' livelihoods. And when families can't count on stable jobs to sustain their lives, they stop betting on Las Vegas and look for cities where the odds aren't stacked against them. Number 2, taxes, insurance, and the cost of ownership. For decades, Nevada's biggest selling point has been simple: no state income tax. That slogan lured Californians, retirees, and entrepreneurs by the thousands. But in 2025, residents are discovering an uncomfortable truth. Even without income tax, the hidden costs of ownership are crushing. Start with property taxes. On paper, Nevada's rates look modest, but pair them with a median home price of $485,000 and the annual bill stings. Then add HOA fees common in Vegas suburbs, which can run hundreds of dollars a month, sometimes for nothing more than landscaping rules or pool maintenance. Insurance adds another blow. Extreme heat, flash floods, and wildfire risks are driving premiums higher every year. Auto insurance, already among the highest in the nation, eats into paychecks too. Utilities pile on. $400, $700 power bills in summer, rising water costs under drought restrictions, and even garbage and sewer fees creeping up as the valley strains to support 2.3 million people. The problem isn't just the size of these bills, it's their unpredictability. Families move to Las Vegas expecting stability, only to find their expenses rising with each season. Retirees who thought they'd stretch pensions discover their budgets collapsing. Young professionals who hope to save find themselves treading water. And while the state can still brag about no income tax, the reality on the ground feels like death by 1,000 cuts. Truth number 2 is bitter. The supposed financial paradise has become a financial trap. For many, the math simply no longer works, and when ownership itself feels like a burden instead of an advantage, families don't hesitate to do the same thing as the tourists, pack up and leave. What's happening in Las Vegas isn't just a local story. It's part of a larger trend reshaping America's cities. For decades, Las Vegas thrived by selling 3 promises: affordability, opportunity, and excitement. In 2025, all 3 are under siege. Affordability has collapsed under housing spikes and hidden costs. Opportunity is fragile, tied to an economy that lives and dies with tourism. And excitement, once the city's strongest asset, now comes with exhaustion. $26 cocktails, endless fees, and a community that feels temporary. What makes this decline more concerning is how it intersects with broader forces. Climate change is no longer a background issue. It dictates whether life here is sustainable. Water levels in Lake Mead aren't just a Vegas problem. They're a warning for every city in the West that depends on the Colorado River. The same goes for economics. In an era where remote work gives families more choice, why gamble on instability when smaller cities offer lower costs and stronger schools? This shift doesn't mean Las Vegas will disappear. It's too iconic, too resilient. But the version of Vegas that lured 42 million visitors in 2019 and offered cheap homes to newcomers is gone. In its place stands a harder truth. Vegas is becoming a playground for the wealthy and a struggle for everyone else. For long-time residents, that means higher stress and shrinking community ties. For would-be newcomers, it's a flashing warning sign. The city may still sell dreams under neon lights, but behind the glow, a harsher story is unfolding, one that could define not just Vegas, but the future of desert cities across America. Las Vegas may still sparkle for tourists, but for residents, the truth is impossible to ignore. From heat waves and failing schools to soaring costs and a vanishing sense of community, the city once sold as a dream now feels like a gamble too risky to play. Some will stay, hoping the lights never dim. But thousands more are already packing up, chasing stability and belonging elsewhere. So what about you? Do you think Las Vegas can reinvent itself, or has the city already lost its soul? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear your take. And if this video opened your eyes, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it. More hidden truths are coming soon.